Good morning, I am Rafael from 10C, and today I will be showing the results of my analysis towards the poem written by Kim Cheng Boy entitled Another Place. Kim Cheng Boy is a Singapore born Australian poet who was born in 1965. He is a well known poet who has graduated with a Master's of Arts degrees in English Literature at National University of Singapore, and he has been recognized through several awards, such as the National Arts Council's Young Artist Award. He also had experience in being a professor at University of Newcastle and Nanyang Technological University, which is at Singapore. And Another Place was another work by Kim that was originally published in 1992. However, Another Place was a bit unique because Another Place is actually both a book and a poem that Kim published. However, in this case, we would be focusing on the poem. And in this video, I would focus on three things from the poem, which are the poem structure and the techniques used by the poet, the backstory of the poem, and the message it brings to the audience. So let's move on to the poem. Another Place brought up the theme of self-realization, explaining the journey of Kim Cheng Boy at Kolkata, India. The poem itself is in the form of a free-form poem. It has no fixed structure, which can be seen by the inconsistent amount of syllables there is in each line. The poem also has no rhyme and meter, and notice how the poem is one full sentence. The poem can be seen as a bit abstract, although Kim Cheng Boy has incorporated several techniques that helps with developing imagery and his tone. He builds this through his use of diction that allows him to utilize the connotations to form an imagery. For example, the words elusive lines connotes mysteries, and this shows that in his travels he starts to realize what he was looking for. And then Kim also used several techniques like repetition and illusion. The repetition can be seen on the first line, which focuses on the word another. And on the other hand, he also alluded to his book, Another Place, which is shown in the second half of the poem, which starts from the sixth line to the end. Moving on to the backstory of the poem, Kim Cheng Boy starts off by telling the readers how he was traveling for a long period. This explains why he used the words on the first and second line that involves another place, another life, without a return ticket. And so in a seminar, Kim once mentioned that his travel was a form of finding his identity and his reason why he hated Singapore in the period. It shows how he picked elusive lines to elaborate his soul searching and reason to hate Singapore, as elusive lines connote to mystery. Then the poem continues with how the travel made Kim discover himself, and that on his return he starts to write poems that tell about his travels. This is also shown in the fourth line to the end of the poem, because the words "a whole library of meaning" is a metaphor for his success in finding his answer or his journey during his journey of soul searching. And at the seventh line to the 10th line, or the last line of the poem, Kim tells the reader how he starts developing the poems of his book, Another Place, called Another Place. So by explaining how the words to sit at the appointed desks and then pore over the pages and stringing together all arrivals and departures with our hands will tell. And that shows his process of making the poems. So in the poem, the message that was brought by the poem is how finding one's true self is like a journey and it takes time. So in conclusion, this poem can be seen as a summary of the book entitled Another Place and Kim Cheng Boy's journey in Kolkata, India. Another Place can also be seen as a narrative that Kim created to tell the story of his travels and what happened. And so Another Place is also a complicated poem which can be understood by understanding the meanings of the words, backstory, and the message of the poem. So that is the results of my analysis, and thank you for your time.